Deep within a forest, past the babbling brook and the mossy stones, was a place called the Whispering Woods. It was a magical place, filled with talking animals and giggling flowers. The trees whispered secrets to the wind, and the sunbeams danced on the forest floor. The Whispering Woods was home to many creatures, big and small. There were deer with eyes like melted chocolate, squirrels with bushy tails, and birds that sang the sweetest songs. But the most magical thing about the Whispering Woods was the needle tree. The needle tree stood tall and proud in the center of the woods. Its needles were not like those of ordinary trees. They shimmered and sparkled in the sunlight, each one holding a tiny bit of magic. It was said that the needle tree could grant wishes, but only to those who were pure of heart. One sunny morning, a little bunny named Benny hopped along the forest path. Benny was a kind bunny, always ready to help his friends. But Benny had a secret wish. He wished he had a beautiful red carrot, the biggest and juiciest he had ever seen. Benny had looked everywhere for a red carrot, but he couldn't find one. He asked his friend, Sammy the squirrel, if he knew where to find one. "I've searched high and low," sighed Benny, "but there's not a single red carrot to be found." Sammy chuckled, his bushy tail twitching. "Why don't you ask the needle tree?" he suggested. "It is said to grant wishes, you know." Benny's eyes widened. "The needle tree? Do you really think it could help me find a red carrot?" Benny, filled with hope, hopped towards the heart of the Whispering Woods. The closer he got, the brighter the light became, until he was bathed in a warm glow. There it stood, the magnificent needle tree, its needles shimmering like 1,000 rainbows. Taking a deep breath, Benny approached the tree. "Oh, wise needle tree," he began, his voice trembling slightly. "I have a wish. I wish for the most beautiful red carrot, the biggest and juiciest one ever seen." The needle tree rustled gently, its needles tinkling like tiny bells. A voice, as soft as the summer breeze, spoke to Benny. "3 tasks you must complete," the needle tree whispered. "3 needles you shall earn, and with each needle a lesson you shall learn." "Your first task, little bunny," the needle tree whispered, "is to learn the joy of sharing. Find Rosie the Robin, who has lost her worm, and share your lunch with her." Benny hopped off to find Rosie. He found her by the babbling brook, her head tucked under her wing, looking very sad. "What's wrong, Rosie?" asked Benny. Rosie chirped sadly. "I lost my worm, and now I'm very hungry." Benny, remembering the needle tree's words, took out his lunch of juicy berries and offered them to Rosie. "Here you go, Rosie. Please share my lunch." Rosie's eyes brightened, and she chirped happily as she ate the berries. Benny felt a warm glow in his heart. Sharing his lunch with Rosie made him feel good. As if by magic, a sparkling needle detached itself from the needle tree and floated down to Benny. He had earned his first needle. Section 5. The second needle, a helping hand. "Your next task, Benny," the needle tree hummed, "is to learn the joy of helping. Find Freddy the Fox, who is trying to build a new den, and offer him your help." Benny found Freddy by the Whispering Waterfall, struggling to carry heavy branches. "Can I help you, Freddy?" Benny offered. Freddy, surprised to see Benny, gratefully accepted his offer. Together, they moved the branches, Benny pushing with all his might, despite being much smaller than Freddy. Soon, they were done, and Freddy had enough branches to build his new den. "Thank you, Benny," Freddy smiled. "You're a true friend." Just then, another sparkling needle detached itself from the needle tree and floated down to Benny. He had earned his second needle.
Know you've been a good friend.
Section 6. The third needle. Words of kindness. Your final task, little bunny, the needle tree sang, is to learn the power of kind words. Find Shelly the Snail, who is feeling down, and say something kind to cheer her up. Benny found Shelly by the sun-kissed meadow, her head drooping low. "What's wrong, Shelly?" Benny asked with concern. Shelly sighed. "I'm too slow. Everyone else is faster and better than me." Benny thought for a moment, then he said, "But Shelly, you always have the most beautiful shell, and you see the world in a way no one else can." Shelly's eyes brightened at Benny's words. She hadn't thought of it that way before. Benny was right. Her shell was beautiful, and she did see the world differently. A smile spread across her face. And just as before, a sparkling needle detached itself from the needle tree and floated down to Benny. He had earned his third needle. Section 7. Benny's transformation. Benny, holding his 3 sparkling needles, hopped back to the needle tree. He had learned the joy of sharing, the joy of helping, and the power of kind words. As he approached the tree, the 3 needles began to glow brightly. The needles floated up into the air and touched the needle tree's trunk. Suddenly, the entire forest was bathed in a warm golden light. Benny felt a strange tingling sensation all over his body. When the light faded, something amazing had happened. Benny was holding the most beautiful red carrot he had ever seen, even bigger and juicier than he had imagined. But something was different. Benny no longer felt selfish or envious. He realized that the true magic wasn't in getting what he wished for, but in the kindness he had shown along the way. Section 8. The magic spreads. Benny hopped back to his friends, his heart brimming with happiness. He shared his red carrot, now more precious because he had earned it through kindness, with Sammy the squirrel, Rosie the Robin, Freddy the Fox, and Shelly the Snail. The news of Benny's experience spread through the whispering woods like wildfire. The other animals, inspired by Benny's transformation, started performing acts of kindness towards one another. The entire forest seemed to sparkle with a newfound joy and warmth. The Whispering Woods, once simply a magical place, became a haven of kindness, with the needle tree at its very heart. And as for Benny, he learned that the greatest gift one can receive is the gift of kindness, a gift that keeps on giving. Section 9. A forest filled with kindness. From that day forward, the animals of the Whispering Woods continued to share, help, and be kind to one another. They learned that true happiness came not from getting what they wanted, but from the warmth and joy they brought to others. And so, the legend of the needle tree and Benny the bunny was passed down through generations of forest creatures, a timeless reminder that the most magical thing of all is the kindness we carry within our hearts.